What's going on, guys? What's going on? What is good? Happy Sunday. Great scan. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. What's going on, guys? What is going on, guys? Sunday night. Little 8 p.m., 8:20 vibe tonight. Get it moving. What's going on? Hourglass Crypto. What's up, David? What's going on? Rocky, good to see you. Do I trade TQQ or SQQQ? Yeah, I do. I keep an eye on them at least. I don't trade SQQQ as much as I was, but I use it a lot as like a confluence point for Qs. So like I have it up right here. It's kind of funny that you mentioned that. Kind of looks like a nice little breakout there. What's my handicap? Like 24. Nah, my handicap's gross. I actually had my best 9 holes though yesterday ever. I shot a 45, and I birdied on 9, which was sick. So yesterday was dope in terms of golf. Played a little Saturday night round. What's going on, guys? What's going on? Trying to give everybody a minute to hop in here. Good afternoon, good evening, afternoon or evening to everyone. What's going on, guys? Greg, Isaac, what's going on? What is going on, guys? All right, so let's go ahead and get started. Trying to give everybody a couple minutes to get in here. I did not actually plan on streaming tonight, but I wanted to hop on for a little bit, guys, and kind of jump into some charts and get into kind of like my game plan for the week personally. First off, I think first things first, guys. If you're kind of, tuning in, you've probably noticed the market has definitely had a little bit of a turn as of late. I think that, there's definitely been an overall, kind of downside vibe to the market lately. Personally, I've been trading a lot more short setups as of late, just because that's kind of what's been working. But obviously, like I said, guys, going to kind of cover a couple things that I like. Two-way, I think the setups are honestly a little bit lacking this week personally. I think that it looks like, really anything could happen this week. I don't have a strong bias. I think that obviously we sold down pretty decently on the S&P last week. I'm going to talk about that. But, like I said, tonight's going to be a little bit more limited in terms of setups because I don't want to mention things that I don't like really, really love. Obviously, in the Sunday scan for the room inside the Discord, guys, I did put out a few trade ideas for a few different names that I do like coming into this week. Those have been given to you guys. In terms of the public stream, guys, I'm going to cover S&P 500, QQQ, AMD, and probably OXY, Oxy, Occidental Petroleum. They had some nice news on Friday. Looks like that could be primed for continuation. Energy's been hot. If you guys are joining us for the first time, welcome to the Sunday night stream. We host these live every single week, traditionally at 9 p.m. Eastern. I'm doing this one a little bit earlier personally because I think, like I said, it's going to be a little bit of a shorter stream for me. Strictly because of the fact that I think that the setups to start the week are very limited in terms of like what I want to be looking to take advantage of, right? AMD is definitely one of the setups I want to talk about. But overall, guys, like I said, it's been a downside heavy market. If you guys have looked, this is some pretty gross action on the S&P 500, okay? Let's look at the 4 hour. So personally, if you guys are new to the streams, the way that I kind of walk through things is we go through the 4 hour and then the hourly, and then we'll kind of look at those tighter time frames in terms of like what levels I'm going to be looking to execute on. So as far as the S&P 500 goes, guys, we are obviously retesting this major breakout level, right? From if we look back at like late June, right? And then we kind of couldn't get through 443 exactly, right? So we pulled back down to 436, came back up middle of July, and we finally broke through, right? So we're retesting what was this major area of resistance here on that higher time frame. If you want to look at the daily, that works too. I just personally like looking at the 4 hour. But you can kind of look back here, right? We had this kind of double top resistance. We finally broke through. And then, right, we kind of come into this, okay, we're at this really big spot now, right? And we've definitely got some pretty strong support at that 444, 443 area, right? If that area were to fail, I really think that opens up the potential downside on the overall market, right? I would honestly, if we break through 443, I'm going to be looking for 436 and probably 430 relatively quickly. I honestly think that if we give back 443, guys, I would not be surprised to see this pull back all the way down to 4,200, really, which would, kind of coincide with that. That'd be kind of 10%, right, off of, kind of that high that we made at 4,600, right? We got into that 4,600 level, just could not break through. We were, getting really close to all-time highs, but we could just not break through that area at 4,600, right? That's where we saw a lot of distribution. And so coming into this week, guys, we're closing down here near this kind of larger scale area of support. If you guys are kind of, just getting into things, really when the market is like this, I think the level of difficulty is much higher, right? And so I really want to emphasize that, guys, that when you have a market that, has a higher level of difficulty like this, personally, the way that I like to trade these is just trade the range in front of you, personally, right? Like things are tighter. You have to be more accustomed to taking base hits, in my opinion. And so if you're trying to hit home runs when the hourly chart looks like this on the S&P, I think you're kind of really setting yourself up for failure. So personally, this has been a base hit market for me, guys. It's kind of been like a, 1 to 2K and done type of market. Like if I come in and make 1K, I'm calling it quits pretty much. Cause I'm happy with that, right? That's my kind of like my soft daily goal right now. I don't like to have firm daily goals, but, really, it's a base hit market, right? There's a time, we talk about it all the time, to put your foot on the gas, and there's a time to really kind of say, okay, like this is what I need to focus on, right? So, again, guys, I really think that that's kind of, where my eyes are at, is really making sure that, the focus is on coming in and taking those small wins, right? Because that's really what matters. So, at least in this market. So like I said, this is going to be the focus for me coming into this week. We're at the bottom of the range right now on the S&P. Basically, like I said, I took some pretty nice shorts up here at 4,100 on the 10th. When we kind of could not break through that 452 area on the S&P. That's the top of our range, right? So we are currently sitting at the bottom end of this range right now, right? And this is the avoidance zone for me, right? Between 447 and 449, that's my do not touch area. Near 444, 445, I'm going to be looking more towards long. So to open up the week, I actually think we've got a pretty solid chance of seeing some type of relief rally right up to the upside. Yeah, I do think we're in a little bit of a transitory period as well. Someone said that in the chat. I think that's a good way to put it. But I also think that, honestly, I have not seen long setups working smoothly, right? Unless they're super tactical longs. Like, for example, I traded IONQ on Friday because of the post-earnings move. But unless it's been like a catalyst-driven long like that, like post-earnings, really strong numbers, right, went long there. And it worked fantastic. It took a 120% win on Friday morning. That was the smoothest long side trade I've taken in a while. And I don't think that's been because of entries or anything like that. I think it's just been the market has felt really heavy on the upside, right? This has been a really, really heavy market, guys. Anytime you have ARKK print 11 red daily closes in a row, guys, this is the ARK daily. I mean, it's not a market you want to be trying to long stuff with, both hands, right? This is a nasty tape. So I've been looking at more shorts, some tactical longs. And as far as the S&P 500 goes coming into this week, my game plan is relatively simple, right? If we're opening at the bottom of the range like this, I'll probably be looking at some tactical longs. I think that growth was relatively strong the last 2 days of the week, right? And so if there's overall strength in the S&P 500, a couple names that pique my interest, that I'm just going to kind of rattle off a few. I don't absolutely love, I wouldn't consider them A+++ setups. But UPST, I think, is interesting. There's probably going to be that big relief rally day here, and we're finally seeing some sideways action after this thing took a 50% haircut in 5 days. We're finally making higher lows on the hourly, right? And so I think in terms of a tradable rally, right? I'm not saying I want to own this, or I'm just saying in terms of a tradable rally on a name, right, with the broader market, if it does have some strength, a name I'd be looking at is a name like Upstart, right? Because they're probably going to have that squeeze out day after printing such heavy downside action. There's probably going to be that larger scale squeeze out day. Finally saw some buyers show up this past Friday. If that hourly can hold 33.22, which was our lows from the 9th, I do think this could push back into 35, that 35 target area, maybe even the 38 daily level. So going to be watching this one alongside, the kind of atypical growth squeezers, a name like Carvana, relative strength Friday, right, up 4%. I think those are a couple names that are interesting. Another one would be OXY, right, because energy has just been trading so well, and no glasses today. And AMC, OXY has just been a monster on Friday after they got their grant news from the federal government as it relates to their carbon capture. Energy's been hot as is, and this looks like a setup that could see some continuation to the upside this week. So those are a couple names I want to look at. Personally, like I said, guys, in terms of the S&P 500 and mega cap tech, this has been the relative weakness area, right? AMD really, really heavy on Friday. And NVIDIA, right? Super heavy as well, right? NVIDIA below its 50-day, broke that major trend line, and it's been cooked since, right? We're down $50, $60 from that retest of that trend line, right? Up in that 456 area. If NVIDIA breaks that 400 spot, it could find that 372 area pretty quickly. So, yeah, Chewy looks interesting off of that yearly trend line, Rocky, for sure. But no glasses today. This is like a chill stream for me tonight, guys. There's not a ton of insane setups, so the energy's brought down a little bit for me. I want to really just, again, focus on a few names this week. So one name I do like as far as the overall market goes is AMD. I think that this name is likely going to set the tone for the week ahead. We are at this major area of support, right? We have been in a range on AMD now for basically 8 weeks. We've had a $15 range on AMD, guys, which is extremely, extremely tight, right? And really the majority of that price action has been here, right? The majority of AMD's price action has been between 110 and that 116 area, right? And so we've really been looking at, a 3 or 4% range kind of, day-to-day action-wise. And we are getting this weekly candle, which is starting to close below these major candle bodies, right? We could not get, weekly candle closed here at that 112.96 area. Again, we started to close this candle at 110.95, right? Really kind of nasty print. And when these bearish setups are working as well as they are, I've personally been sizing more into the downside setups because that's what the market's been favoring. It's not an opinion, it's just fact. We are pulling into this major 107 support, right? Now, if we are truly in a downside, more downside biased market, this is a setup that probably works to the downside this week. However, I think that Friday's low is going to play a really important part. So the game plan that I kind of gave inside the Discord on our private stream, which if you guys are interested in joining the Discord, you guys can go to the link in my bio, which is the WAP link. We just recently partnered with them, and you guys can use the code STREAM20, which will give you 20% off access to the Discord for the month. And it's not like Patreon, so you'll get full access till the 15th or 13th of next month. So it's nice in that sense that you don't have to wait till the first of the month. So make sure you guys check that out. And again, you can use code all caps STREAM20, and that'll get you 20% off. And that'll get you access again to the daily live stream. So a live stream like this every single morning. And then we'll also do live trading from 9:30 until 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And there's a ton of other benefits as well. But like I said, you can find all that on WAP. So the link is in my bio. If you have any trouble, you can shoot me a DM and I can help you out. All right. So again, this 107 spot is the big area, right? Our low of the day on Friday was 106.49. If we get an hourly close below 106.49 on AMD, I'm personally going to be looking towards those 105 puts. I think they're very interesting with that gap to fill kind of below, right? We've got that imbalance area of price action I think we'd probably find 102 relatively quickly. And I honestly think, guys, that this would find that psychological support level at 100, quicker rather than later, right? Sooner rather than later, under that 106.49 low of the day from Friday, right? We have had 4 red closes in a row here. Doesn't really mean a whole lot, but again, this has been a name that has just not traded well in terms of bullish action, right? So, and you've had a really long consolidation period like this. And so what do we know about really A+ setups, guys? They form when you have really extended periods of consolidation on whatever time frame you're looking at. And when you finally get a break of that range, it usually offers an expansive move, right? So a large move, which is, again, appealing to me from an option standpoint. So again, that's a setup that I'm really looking at really closely off of that 107 area. And again, I'm going to be watching the 106.49 zone, right? That's the spot that I'm going to be looking at. If we get an hourly close under this spot, I think we probably see that 102 area pretty quickly. So that's a name that I'm going to be looking at if we see NVIDIA continue to fail, if we see the overall market continue to be heavy. Personally, that's a name that I'm really going to be paying close attention to, okay? And so like I said on the Qs, basically my focus is going to be pretty simple here, all right? This is the level that I want to pay attention to, all right, is this 367 spot, okay? I want to really see 367.19 up to 367.74 retested. If this area gets retested and we reject, I do think that would lead to a retest of 364 and really a continued downside move potentially into this 357 area below. This would line up with the weekly trend line as well. And so when the market's acting like this, guys, I personally am not coming in looking to force longs, right? If a long is a standout like chart that is maybe, not exposed to tech right now, I'm considering it. But for the most part, unless it's a very tactical long with some type of catalyst behind it, I'm not going to be giving it a ton of attention just because those setups are just not working as well, right? I think Array is a really interesting one. I'll mention this one quickly. The daily chart here, guys. This is bullish price action, right? This is a stock that wants to go higher, in my opinion, okay? Really, really high daily volume after earnings, power earnings gap, inside or basically sideways day, right? And then it closes above the power earnings gap high. This is a tactical long setup. This is a good example of a tactical long setup that I want to be looking at, right? So again, if this holds 2350, get some type of liquidity trap here, that would be very interesting to me. But like I said, for the most part, what I'm going to be looking at is I like to trade the Qs a lot when the market is like this because it's a name. Obviously, I've been trading the Qs for a really long time. And honestly, it's kind of my safe haven. When everything else is kind of a mess like it is right now, I'm really just focused on shorting pops on the Qs. And so it sounds basic, but you'd be surprised at how well that works when the market's heavy. So again, I'm going to be looking to short into that 367.50 area if we cannot reclaim it, right? So if we get a test up into 367.74 tomorrow, some type of liquidity trap occurs on the hourly, I would love to trade that potential downside setup. Again, that goes for the 15-minute as well. That's really going to be the key spot for me going into the day tomorrow, right? And if we reject that level, I do think we could get some further downside here, right? Again, part of the reason there, it's going to be important to watch SQQQ as well, but, as far as the daily goes, SQQQ is kind of breaking over that resistance at 1930. As long as that area holds on SQQQ, I think that this could push up into 2086, right? That more near-term daily resistance. So that's definitely a setup that, obviously I want to watch. Maybe if you're more comfortable trading long, you just go trade SQQQ calls. But that's a setup that I want to watch as well. I know a lot of people usually ask me about Tesla. I wanted to quickly cover that, guys. As far as the weekly goes on Tesla, personally, guys, I'd be bullish at 220. But until we retest this breakout, I personally, I'm not looking to long this thing. It's been one of the worst traders in terms of upside action lately. It's been really weak ever since earnings, right? We printed that outside bar. And it's going to be very hard for speculative names in general to see continued upside action without its leader, right? Tesla is still the leader of the speculative names, in my opinion. It's the OG speculative name. and it's going to need, in my opinion, to retest 220 maybe this month, right? But I really think that 220 area probably needs to get retested. I would be looking at longs off of that 220 area. We're nowhere close really yet. Got another 10% to go, but I think that's a really interesting spot if we get down there. So if we do get some type of heavier sell-off this week, I think this would be a really smooth zone to trade down, because if we look at the weekly chart on Tesla, we went right from that 220 area all the way through to 245. Remember how quickly we moved through this zone, guys. Past price action is the best indicator of future results, in my opinion. And so, honestly, this is a zone that I would personally be looking to trade Tesla on the downside. And then once we get into that 219 area, I really think that would be an attractive long side setup. So, yeah, definitely. So, again, I really think that's a really important spot. So, like I said, guys, this is a really a type of week where I want to be really letting setups come to me, right? When action is like this, there's just not a ton of A+ setups, in my opinion, up or down right this minute, right? I think that really when it's like that, I really try to focus on tighter time frame scalps on the S&P 500 and the Qs, and really that's going to be my primary focus this week, right? I mentioned I think there's a couple energy names, Array and OXY, that look very appealing to the upside if we do see some early week market strength. And again, I mentioned a lot of those growthier names. I just think they're in a weird spot still. There's probably going to be some type of squeeze out day, right? When you print 11 daily red candles in a row on ARK, you're probably going to get that type of squeeze out day, right? Where you get that, really powerful move to the upside, right? Even if it's in a broader term downtrend, we tend to have those kind of days, right? But that monthly level, as I mentioned on my Twitter, is really in that 40 zone. So any other AI stocks that I'm watching? Right now, the only name that I like in terms of speculative is IONQ, which I traded Friday. This looks pretty good to me. It was really strong on Friday. Biggest daily volume ever on this name. And they had a really, really solid earnings report from what I read. I'm not a fundamental expert by any means, but this was a beautiful tactical long. Look at that 15-minute off the open. Right? Did not stop once. So I longed this on Friday. If you guys want to see, I'll show you guys my entry. All right. So I bought the IONQ. I traded the next week's calls, or this week now, but obviously last Friday, I bought 50 of the 18 calls, right? At $50 a contract, guys. These ended up ripping all the way up into, let me see what my exit was here. Wild move, really. Just absolutely insane. We ended up getting 104%. I sold the majority of my positions, sold 43 of 50 contracts. And I believe that was at $1 contract. Yeah, $1 contract, 104% move. And then these ended up going all the way up to 105. And I sold 90%. Of the 18 calls for 120%. So that was a really awesome trade on Friday, and I do think that this name could continue to show some strength this week. Obviously, when it prints its highest volume ever like that, it's definitely a good name to keep on watch. Doesn't mean it's going to go the very next day, but like I said, I think this one is definitely interesting. So I'm going to keep this on watch as far as the upside goes. As far as AI stocks, though, in general, I think you have to think the AI leadership comes from NVIDIA, comes from AMD, comes from Microsoft, and all those names are lacking really, really hard right now. So, like I said, guys, those are really the names that I want to focus on coming into this week. QQQ, S&P 500, AMD is a big one. That's going to be the big one I'm watching tomorrow. But again, mentioned a couple energy names that I do like. As far as, it goes outside of that, guys, I'm really being patient and focused on base hits, right? I'm not sitting at the desk all day. I'm not looking to enter swings in this type of market. I'm really looking at executing on, really high confidence setups intraday and then being done. That's kind of the market that it is right now, which is good. It helps you build discipline and, it gets you in a good habits, right, of taking base hits. So that is going to be my game plan going into this week, guys. I know it's a little bit more muted this week, but I think the market is a little bit more muted, and it's important when the market is showing signs of being a little bit more muted, not to try to put your foot on the gas, because that's when bad things happen. When you try to hit home runs in a base hit market, the market teaches you a lesson. really quickly. So base hits are the key. If anybody didn't notice as well, I finally got a haircut, so can get back on stream without my hair being like the fro just going crazy. So yeah, so like I said, relatively muted scan for me tonight, but those are going to be the things that I'm watching this week. I'm going to be hosting a couple of really cool workshops inside the room this week. Of course, as it goes for subscribers, guys, make sure you guys check out the Sunday Market Scan, which was posted in the Discord. You guys can go view that in the Man's Announcements channel. It's a 35-minute long video this week, went in depth on some of those trade ideas and what I'm going to be watching. Make sure you guys check that out, and I will see everybody in the room bright and early on the Pre-Market Live tomorrow. Hope you guys have a fantastic Sunday night. Peace.